Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
What's up guys, Dota Academy here, and today we're going to talk about how to win the mid lane in patch 7.01. So I'm joined by Ariel and we're going to be discussing the main things that people are doing or what you should be doing in this meta in order to win the mid lane. So Ariel, do you want to first of all just talk about how the mid lane or how maybe what people do in the mid lane has changed between now and the previous patch?
Well, from last patch, say 6.88, there's been a few changes. For example, pushing your lane in the mid used to be like a really bad thing because you'd want to keep the creep wave close to your tower, just as with the safe lane and off lane. But nowadays it's not really an issue if your lane is pushed. In fact, it gives you some opportunities to do other things elsewhere on the map. So you have the freedom to go for that rune, go to gank a different lane. There's a few other different things you can do if your lane is pushed out, and the enemy mid has to stay in their lane to actually get the last hits, because you've pushed the wave to them.
I mean, I guess there are obviously a few advantages to push the wave as opposed to kind of just try and keeping on like blocking waves so they're close to your tower. And I think the biggest reason I think why you should do it in this patch is because of the availabilities that you have. Like, it's not just about out CSing the opponent. I think there's so much more in this patch, with the addition of the bounty runes like near the shrines, and you're able to maneuver around the map much more freely, I think, when you're pushing the wave as a mid laner, because you're obviously going to be getting those levels first by killing the creep wave. You're going to be able to level up before your opponent in the mid lane, and obviously that means that most likely you're going to be the highest level in the game at the time when you're pushing. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to, obviously you can go for ganks in other lanes. For example, if you've got the creep wave pushed in and the enemy mid laner needs to get the last hits and needs to defend the tower, you've got two things going for you, because you've got creeps that are going to hit the tower, but also you're able to either get the rune at 2 minutes. Like, when you've got your wave pushed in at mid, you're able to go to another lane and not really have to worry about your tower because of how far the creep wave is pushed into the enemy's tower. So you're able to open up to get some kills. If you're lucky, you can go gank maybe the jungle or the safe lane, off lane. Doesn't really matter, because you can go anywhere pretty much and still be a threat and not having to worry about your tower. I mean, and I think that's one kind of really big deal that not many people do, because you still obviously see people blocking the creeps and they still want to get it towards the tower, but it's are people not realizing how much they're missing out and the opportunities that they can have if they want to push out the lane? I can give you an example of Necrophos, because lots of Necrophos players, if they go in the mid lane, usually they would level up Q when they start out, because obviously it's a nuke, it's an AoE nuke that can do a lot of damage level 1. I think it does, it's one of the most powerful skills, just level 1 kind of right off the bat.
It not only heals you, it damages them, so the HP difference it creates is quite big.
Yeah, and I saw obviously we saw people going for that a lot of the time, the majority of the time, within in the recent patches. But now I think if we want to go for the kind of push out the lane, then I think leveling up Heartstop Aura is one of the best ways to actually push the lane and do damage to your opposing mid at the same time, because obviously Heartstop Aura at level 1, the HP reduction percentage, it's really superior. If an enemy gets a tango, it literally neutralizes the tango effects whilst also helping to push the wave. So I mean, that's just an example of what you can do like as a mid laner. And there are obviously other heroes you can use in the mid lane to push the wave. Like you've got Alchemist who can just keep spamming acid spray to push the lane. You've got heroes like Sniper who have really high attack speed. Shrapnel and high attack speed.
Yeah, well, I just want to mention one more thing about pushing the wave is that last hitting under tower can actually be difficult. Like it takes practice. So that's one more thing you're doing. You're forcing your opponent to last hit under tower, so they're likely to miss. Whereas they might get all the last hits in one wave. Normally, they might miss 1 or 2 CS because you forced them to last hit under tower. Moving away from that though, like other ways you can win your lane going mid is to use your runes. Like a lot of players, they just bot up a rune and just let it sit. I'll use this when I need it, which that's fair enough. But if you bottle a haste or a double damage, really you should see that as like really almost a guaranteed kill, because those 2 runes specifically are very strong, especially in the early game, and really throughout the whole game. Double damage only really gets stronger as your damage increases, but yeah, you can often, it's about knowing how strong you are. So recognize that if you have a haste, you can go for maybe dive under the enemy's tower and you're likely to get a kill. It might be scary, but if you can get that kill, it's going to put you in a much better position during the laning phase, and you will pull ahead because even 5 or 10 seconds while the enemy mid is dead, you're gaining advantage while they're not getting any experience or gold, and they have to buy a TP, or one of their allies has to buy a TP for them to come back in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just goes to show that, if you were to kind of put a definition on, what does it mean to win a lane? Like, some people can define it by having more kills than your opponent. Some people can argue that, it's more about the objective. So whoever gets let's say whoever destroys the mid tower tier 1 first kind of won the lane. But I mean, now we can see that there's a lot more to that it's not just about having more kills or about destroying the objectives. It's actually about utilizing all of the things that are available to you, kind of, which part of that is, I guess, going for the objectives, because if you're pushing the wave, you are going to be able to do significantly more damage to enemy towers than your opponents are. But it's also that you're able to open up to many more opportunities to get kills and to secure more map control, and just basically you're able to do a lot more, I think, now as mid lane, like when it pushes. So I guess you can say that maybe in this patch players should be trying to kind of push the wave to get objectives, but it's not even just the objectives of getting the tier 1 tower. I think it opens up like lots more if you're able to do that.
It depends also on the hero you're playing. Let's say you're a Viper against an Alchemist. You may not die. Even if you don't die, if you don't feed to the Alchemist whatsoever, you still can lose the lane. Say, if the laning phase ends and you haven't starved Alchemist of CS or you haven't killed him, you have effectively lost the lane, because you'll find that your hero falls off very quickly and Alchemist only gets stronger. Towards that 30-minute mark, you'll be marching at your ancient 6-slotted. So you have to recognize what the hero you've chosen does best and try and do what they do best. So yeah, as Viper, you really should be winning your lane going mid, especially against an Alchemist. I gave that as an example because he's one of the weakest laners. Acid Spray, yeah, it's a good laning tool, but it's not just the be-all and end-all for him. Like he needs more than that. He's still extremely weak, very low armor. Until he hits level 6, he's very easy kill. A lot of mid heroes like to build at least a ring of Basilius, if not a ring of Aquila. Even on Invokers, it's quite common, despite the fact he's an intelligence hero, not an agility hero. It's one of the highest level tactics really that I've seen, and that probably exists in Dota 2, is to toggle your Basilius or your Aquila on and off to vary the armor of your creeps, so that it makes your opponent's last hitting more difficult. So we've seen the likes of Sumail really abuse this in like pro games. But if you can, you know, pull that off in an everyday pub, it's gonna, you know, be that extra thing that could make the difference to you winning your lane.
That's true. I mean, that gets really technical, but also that is another pretty legit way to be able to out CS and obviously messing up CS of your opponent. And I guess that's pretty much it about, you know, in terms of like how to be winning mid lane in this meta. Obviously, you can have your own definition of what winning a lane means, you know. I mean, if feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Hope you enjoyed this video. On behalf of Ario and myself, thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.